Right. So good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for joining the session today. Today we have Dr. Isiaka here, Fatima Isiaka, who will be talking to us about how AI interprets some of our behaviors, especially when we're typing, and then how it gets to learn more about us such that it personalizes some of the activities we perform when we're using AI. Dr. Isiaka, hello, are you here? Can you unmute so that we can hear you? And apologies to everyone once again for the delay. We couldn't get Dr. Isiaka to come onto the screen, but now she's here. I don't know. Can you unmute so that we can hear you if you can?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay.
I am going to leave the screen. Do you want to share your screen, please?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. So I'll let you take the stage. Apologies. So we might run a little bit over because we have delayed. So thank you, Dr. Isiaka. It's good to have you, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, are you seeing my screen now?
Yes, I can see your screen. Yes. I
Yeah,
believe everyone
sorry.
else can see her screen. Can you all put in the chat if you can see her screen? No, I cannot see your screen actually. This is your screen. Yep, this is it. Yes, I
Yeah,
can
you
see your
can see it
screen here.
now. Yeah,
Yes,
okay,
that's
thank you. Sorry
thank
for
you.
joining late. I had network problem connecting.
Yes,
The
thank you.
confirmation is all right, thank you. Yeah, sorry, again, I apologize for coming late. Before anything, let me just continue without wasting time, continue with the presentation since we all have other things to do. Yeah, for the presentation of today, and also I'm very honored to be part of your seminar. And I want to talk about very important and very interesting topic today, which is on synchronization of user events with psychological dynamics. Mostly, it's a very interesting topic in AI, which most user design and developers would wish to know about, especially those working in human-computer interaction, especially for women, since we want to know more about our psychology and cognition and how we respond to everyday visual events. So in the presentation, the seminar of today, we'll be talking about the background. An overview is looking at the background of the study, look briefly at some objectives and methods, and then quickly at some results. This particular topic is or has been published in an AI journal, which is intended to come out this year or probably next year. So the most important thing, first of all, to learn about our user cognition or human cognition is to understand the movement of the eye on our visual field. Now, this movement says a lot of things. Sometimes we'll be on a commercial website trying to get some product while online, and they are the website owner who will wish to know exactly what the person wants or what the user wants so that you don't need to know the user for you to be able to tell what the user really wants. So we need to understand the eye movement on the visual field. Now, the visual field, for some of us who doesn't know, is how we look at our screen. Sometimes our screen, once you look at your screen, the first point of contact is what we call the center field. This center field is where you look at before your eye roams to every other corner of the eye. And this eye movement is first initial state calibrated. If we're like an analyst or web designer, a web page designer wish to design a particular site for a user for say for rapid design decisions, we need to study the eye movement. That's why we collect a lot of data. Now, one of the most important tools used is what we call the eye tracker. The eye tracker measures the eye through calibration and monitors the eye movement on the field to get certain information to display or use as analysis for analysis purposes. And there's other interesting that we're looking at, like embedding what we call some emojis as the user cognition. So to avoid this emoji, we need to understand the scan path, what we mean by scan path, what we mean by fixations. The scan path on the visual field is simply the distance between one movement of the eye to the other on the visual field. And sometimes this is obtained by simply looking at a particular point, which we call the gaze point or the fixations. Then there's the next thing that you need to know about, which is called the pupil dynamics. Most analysts or most web developers or psychological analysts say that the pupil dynamics or pupil cognition is a window into the cognition, how the user think, how the people think while they look at the visual field. Because sometimes we don't really know what we think about or what we're looking at. We might be feeling something different, probably stressed, or what is on our feed is something that will make us relax. Sometimes a complex page or a complex visual field can have a serious stress effect on the person. You can get confused. Like for this case, when I'm looking for a link to log on to join and people are waiting for me, so I get like kind of agitated. You can easily measure these responses and analyze and use it as a way of reducing stress and also help in making rapid design decision in a short period of time. So we're also thinking of embedding emoji as a way of relaying or displaying this user cognition, which is also a precept for fixation. It's a future way of AI learning tool for eye tracker, and also integrating some of these physiological responses like the pupil response. The eye tracker also measure the pupil response, which can also be synchronized or as a proxy to skin conductance response. Then the main objective for this study is to see how we can use AI to like the neural network embedded to support vector machine, and also the control system. In this case, the N4C is a control systems that measure the user cognition much accurately than some AI algorithm or some machine learning algorithm. But then we can obtain their psychological effect, psychophysiological effects from these pupil responses, and also from what we call the electrodermal activity, the measure of the skin response of the user. This key response is mostly obtained while user is responding, like in this very instance that you can feel some nervousness when you want to join something and you don't have access to this. You can measure this using the sensor tool of the EDA, the electrodermal activity, and also use this for analysis. And this can be synchronized with the PPU responses. And then be able to present, in this case for this presentation, a simulation pattern that describes this phenomena. And then be able to compare the performances, because a model isn't authenticated unless if it undergoes performance analysis and performance test to test its authenticity and reliability before it can be used. So these are some of the things we aim to get from this very research area. Of course, we have to look at other areas of field who worked on emotional intelligence, on emojis too, using emoji as a model language for model analysis, on social media communication, and then there are some work on emoji effects on cognitions, mostly on perception and eye movement, and then the effect of the emoji on the user based on their event-related potential, which is measured from electroencephalogram to determine the user behavior. These are part of what we call the ergonomics aspect of human-computer interaction. Before you know the cognition of a user, you need to know their physiological response, their cognitive responses, which is obtained from the physiological response. And you can take this, gather or compute these data sets and be able to produce a model that can easily assess the user cognition. So one of the most interesting tools I like using, apart from the AI tools and machine learning tools we have currently, is the dynamic control system. This predicts user physiological response, because actually the user activity is very difficult, or user behavior, human behavior is very difficult to predict. But the control system dynamics can help to present and predict the user response based on certain attributes. Like for this case, we can say the response we are trying to detect here is Y. Then the input attributes is X there. These input attributes can be the amplitude of the user from the electrodermal activity, the pupil responses, the skin temperature, depending on the tool we are using. And also we can add some encephalogram and heart rate responses. These are attributes that can be used to predict user response. And this very model, dynamic control system, can predict these responses accurately. So if we are using regression analysis or some machine learning tricks, you can't get more than 60%, which is also a good prediction considering the human behavior data we are talking about. And the eye tracker measures distances from one point to the other. In the first, say in milliseconds, you can get up to 1,000 instances of data sets using eye tracker. Because eye movement is very difficult to predict. You can also only collect these data sets from this eye tracker, which is saved within certain memory there, and use it for the input. So this is an example of data sets that we've obtained. Like you can see the EDA there. It's called the electrodermal activity, which is measured in μ per second. Then the affect states, these are logged in while the user interacts. Then we have the timestamps and the event login. And also other attributes like key press. These are certain data they are synchronized from both eye tracker and the key conductors response sensor. And synchronization means once the user is interacting, you make sure you collect this data at the same time you collect the eye movement data so that you don't have any false prediction or false positive cases or more false positive cases than true positive cases when predicting. The example of the model of the AI model tool that can be used is a support vector machine integrated to a region convolutional neural network. All these data sets can be synchronized and work based on outputs, such as the one I mentioned. This could, like X11 can represent the electrodermal activity amplitude. X12 can represent data from the pupil response, and so on, depending on the number of attributes. But mostly, we would like to work with the most significant attribute that will contribute most significantly to the prediction of the user responses. So example is of this form, or we can say the model framework of the model consists of you need certain user, and then you have the emotive function, but the tools or the icons you use to represent the user cognition. And also the point where the user starts considering or thinking, this is where you get the main attitude or highest frequency from. This could depend on, say, a stress point while the user is thinking I'm stressed, but he won't subjectively, he won't say it, but objectively we can get that from the measuring sensors. So the most important thing is to form a generated models attribute based on these attributes and correlate them to the emotional expressions, the critical point of view from the eye tracker, and then we have the emotive, the mood, and the affect state as the predicted responses of the user. So using a convolutional neural network or region convolutional neural network, we all know how it works. Most of us that are dealing with work with most of these tools, that you have to have some input attributes. For this case, we learned that there could be more than 2 of these attributes which contribute most significantly to the prediction of the user responses. And this layer are based on feature extraction. You have to undergo some form of feature extraction to get these attributes. And then leads to the hidden layer where 2 of these form contribute also to the prediction of these user responses. These are matched to what we call the support vector machine. And then you have the classification point or stage where you can classify a cognitive state. It can be like stress, it can be like a neutral mood, or it can be like a simply relaxed mood where no effect or amplitude is seen or detected in the tools you use. So an example is a screen captured where the user interact with some video content here. For this case, the user is trying to detect which, because there are 3 kids playing with some a game there. The user here, the task is to detect the most active child.
Sorry to cut you. You've got 3 minutes more because we've run over
Okay.
a lot of time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So the child is to detect, the user is to detect, or the analyst is to see where the user can detect the most active child and use it for like a quick design decision depending on what the analyst is looking for. So on the right side, we can see some synchronized physiological responses from the user, from the participant, that tell us where the user is straight, where he detects some high frequency. And this can also be seen for commercial web pages where users or the user interact. This is based on aggregate, where the user interact with some dynamic features and the eye movement is collected, synchronized with the physiological response. So the first case is to get this emotion, because most of our thought is based on bubbles. When we are thinking, your tent tends to clouding, so we represent it using bubbles, what the user is thinking. So in the first instance, you see a special distribution of fixation points, and this can be represented using bubbles. Then in the next case, we thought of capturing these physiological responses and represent them using what we call emojis. It could be you're trying to represent or synchronize, or using them as a proxy to fixations, which is what we tend to do. So we can use emoji for this case as a proxy to the fixations. And also, we can use them as, say, for instance, in cybersecurity, if you want to detect some hacker mode, you might be at a port where you have to gather some user activity, and then you have to synchronize this user activity and get the particular point or IP where you have hacker mode, or sometimes we call some adversarial attacks from cybersecurities. So example of this is to also to test the performance of these tools. So these results here show some performance from some of these tools used based on some certain classes like neutral, dislike mode from the data set obtained. So this study can further be used, like we want to find classify fixations based on certain responses on, say, for web developers, and use them for more intuitive and engaging interfaces, say for classroom interactions or for classroom lecture. And then you can also leverage more advanced tracking technologies that will yield richer insights into user attention and engagement. So future studies, since I don't have much time, would have been interesting, is to leverage more advanced tracking technologies, which will undoubtedly will yield richer insights to nuances of user attention, and then investigate more applications and more way of seeing if we can apply or embed emojis to the eye tracking tools. So I'm sure that will be enough. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that amazing session. That's quite a lot. And it would have been nice to hear more how, we learn about children's behavior using these tracking systems, and how you translate some of these into some important data that can help us make informed decision. But thank you so much for that interesting session. I don't know, is there any question from the audience, please? Is there any question? I know we've run a little bit over time because of the technology problem, but yeah, that was very good. Any questions in the chat? Any questions? No. Okay. All right, then, yeah, in the absence of no question, thank you for that session, Dr. Fatima. And yes, I will be sharing this on the YouTube, on the HerHCAI YouTube platform. Anybody who wants to go and rewatch it, you can find it there. Thank you so much.
Also, I would like to use this platform to make you aware of we have some journals that we are introducing, AI journals, publish articles on AI, books on AI,
Okay.
and also some conferences on AI. So if you wish to join, I'll send you link.
Yes, please, if you can send the link to me, and then I can send it to Oh yeah, there's a question. It says, how do we use this information on our daily activities?
Yeah, for your daily activity, mostly it's for an analyst if you're a web developer, because like a student, you can analyze things like you have to undergo some classroom activity, some classroom curriculum. But if it's a web developer who is uses eye tracking or developing tools on eye tracking, you can make use of this. It can also be for commercial website owners. You can have this tool to just to predict and know what your user wants, because there are certain cases where some user you get things online and when you get this product, they don't look exactly like what you ordered online. So you can use this tool to improve your website, your commercial websites, to know what the user wants and put these things online, like even a 3D visualization, so that you know exactly what you are getting and you get exactly what you ordered. Some things like that. You use this form of tools.
And also, it's even for those that have businesses, is also you can also use eye trackers in like shops where on how things are laid out and look at the sort of things that attract your customers and what part of the shops people are attracted to. You can use it, on 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 things that on products that customers, and when people are looking at products, what is it, the logo that is attracting them? Is it the text that is attracting them? Those sort of things you use eye trackers for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Any other question? How can I join the AI publication and make contribution if I'm interested? I don't know. Are you happy to share your email in the chat so that people can reach out to you? Or there is the HCI project email on the chat. Dr. Fatima, do you want to share your email in the chat if you're happy so that people can reach out to you? Or
Yeah.
alternatively, the HerHCAI project email is on the
No, it will be,
screen.
I think it will be very nice if I send it to you on email and
Okay.
then you can share it with them.
Okay, so
Since
anyone
I'm
that is
not with,
interested, yeah, just
yeah,
send the HCI project an email, and then I
yeah,
would respond to you, or the team would respond to you. Thank you so much
okay.
for that amazing session. Yes, the recording is also going to be on HCI project, sorry, HerHCAI project YouTube platform, so you can access that. And sorry, I know we've gone over time. It's 15 minutes over the usual time. But thank you all for
Yeah,
joining. And yes, we'll see you all same time next week. We're going to be having another amazing person who is going to be discussing a lot, sharing a lot on AI and some of these technologies that we're using in this age and time of where AI has evolved and is becoming part of our daily lives. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you next week. Oh, bye.
yeah. I just sent in some a link. You can get the journals and books there. Just a starting point because it's a new journal site. So if anyone that's interested, you can send.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay, all
All right.
right.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Yeah. All right then. Bye
Yeah,
bye, everybody. Yeah.
yeah.
Bye.
Bye.